Jill, would you get slimed in the name of MLS?
Yes.
Yes. So would I.
I've gotten hit in the face with a sprinkler. I would have much rather preferred some slime.
What is up, everybody? Happy 2021. Welcome to season 3 of the Call Up. Susanna Collins alongside my best friend in the whole world, Jillian Sakovitz. Oh, it is so good to see you, my friend. Happy New Year. Are we still allowed to say that?
Heck yeah, we are. Happy New Year. It is 2021. I am feeling good. And
they brought us back. We're back.
Season 3, baby. We are back. And Suze, I mean, I'd love to give ourselves credit. We have to give a little bit of credit to our producer, Galina, in making it all happen. Luis Robles, he hung up the boots, or he announced that he hung up the boots about a week ago. And this interview,
he's amazing.
Hard hitting, I gotta say. And I guarantee you, MLS fan, human fan, but for New York Red Bulls, Inter Miami fans, I mean, you are guaranteed some never heard before stories. You know, it's always the question with, especially with big names like Luis, what's next? He has a very clear vision of what he wants to do.
Very clear. And
can I just say a lot about
what
challenges.
an amazing storyteller he is.
So get ready.
It was like, it literally, get the popcorn, just sit back and listen to Luis Robles.
We have set the bar high in episode 1 of season 3.
Yes, we're starting out with a bang. And on that note, guys, this is season 3. If you're not aware, we've said it like 3 times right now, but
we're excited.
If you continue to enjoy this podcast, if you like listening to the things we have to say, the interviews that we do, please, why don't you just give us a little like, subscribe, tell your friends,
review us.
Much, much appreciated. We have to give ourselves a little plug, right? At the start of the season. Why not? Shall we get into it? Are we here for this? Here for this! Yes! All right, Jill. We're starting out. We're coming in hot here because our first here for this is, I think, a very polarizing concept for people, and that is dry January.
I was going to say, where are you going with this?
So many people decide that, you know, after all the holiday festivities are over, they're going to take the month of January and refrain from consuming alcohol, which, you know, maybe a little reset, whatever. But there are, you know, people are very much in favor of this or very much not in favor for it. I have sort of decided that I was going to give this a whirl. This is the first time I've ever attempted.
A for effort. I know where this is going.
So I just want to say to everybody out there that if you are doing this, good for you. Like, great. I think that's it's a great kind of way to just sort of start the year, reset. If you want to feel better, whatever. So I applaud anybody that's trying it.
But
now, truth. You want the truth? You want the real story?
Mm-hmm.
I really thought that, like, by not having the glasses of wine, making a cocktail at night, I would wake up in the morning and just feel like, woo, I am ready to take on the day. I would have more energy. I would just, you know, be feeling great and clear-headed. No, that's not the case. I still kind of feel like crap. And I don't know if that is just a result of 2021 kind of starting out in this like sort of weird, funky way. There's a lot going on, but I don't feel great, Jill, and I haven't been drinking. And
you want to know what that's called in the medical field?
What is that called?
That's called withdrawals. But Suze, you know what? Give yourself some freaking credit. You tried it like from the 2nd to the 11th. I mean, that's a week. There's a pandemic going on.
Why don't I feel better? Why don't I feel better?
I don't have my advice as your friend would be, who gives a crap? Let's move on. Screw dry January. I'll be honest. I think for people that are maybe competitive or true competitors, you know, to put something out there and be like, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I'm going to do dry January. I'm going to run 85 marathons. Love it. Don't get it. I have no desire to set those types of expectations for myself. I have no desire to put it on the interwebs.
Yeah.
And I have no, maybe that's something wrong with me.
No,
but
I
no,
don't think
thank
so.
you.
Last year, well, I
So I
remember
give you
last
credit.
year.
I give you credit.
Thank you. Our here for this last year, like at the start of the year, was New Year's resolutions, and both of us were like, "No, we're not here for it." And so, and this wasn't like I didn't make a conscious choice of like I'm gonna do dry January. It was just one of these things that happened. I had been at my parents' house for the holidays, where I had been, enjoying myself, partaking in alcoholic beverages, and then when I got back to New York, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take a little breather, and so
Thank you.
that's
Next,
kind of
dry
what it
January for
turned into.
Susanna.
But now I'm literally just like, I just don't, I thought I would feel a lot better and I don't.
You know who is feeling a lot better?
Who?
Greg Vanny.
Yes.
Because he is
Yes.
warm. He is warm and he is I know he loves his time at Toronto, but let's admit it, it is January and Greg Vanny is not hanging out in Canada. He has made it to sunny California. We knew it was going to
Sure
happen. It was
has.
just a matter of time. Greg Vanny announced this month as the head coach of the LA Galaxy. Excited to see him kind of return to his roots
Mhm.
a little bit.
Well, and this is LA needed a little boost, We had spoken to Landon Donovan about sort of,
Culture.
getting back the culture.
Culture, he
Exactly.
said,
And
is
Greg,
tough to restore, and Greg is the guy to do it.
I think Greg is absolutely the guy to do it. He has strong connections and ties to the team. So I like this move. I like
So
this move a lot.
I don't
But
think it's up for discussion that we're here for
no,
Greg Vanny
exactly.
returning to LA. What did we just put this in because we wanted to talk about Greg Vanny? I feel like we probably did. I will throw
Probably.
out that he is wearing, I think I asked this in our Becky G episode, which was our final of last year. Will the scarf go with Greg to LA? And that was a joke. And in his press conference where they announced him, Greg's got a friggin' scarf on in LA. Now,
Friggin'
it
scarf.
is kind of like the whimsical light scarf, but I don't think he's given it up. Like, is he
No,
gonna have that
that's
in
his look.
July?
That's his
Like
look.
a t-shirt, like a little scarf, like an Anthony Bourdain scarf, like in the wind?
It's very French.
Only time will
You know
tell.
what though? Can I also I not to get nitpicky here, but I'm gonna because we've got this picture up right now that we're both looking at. He went real high and tight with the hair. As we recall, Greg Vanny was kind of letting it go. He had like the sort of curls and the flow going, and I'm not gonna lie, I sort of missed that.
Last but not least, I have to ask you, are you here for I mean, I loved it. The NFL created that kid-friendly broadcast
Oh,
with CBS and Nickelodeon. Now, listen to this. It was an NFL playoff game, wild card, 2 million viewers on Nickelodeon and watching this. And I mean, it was adorable. SpongeBob between the pylons, slime when you're in the end
hmm
zone.
hmm
I'll be honest with you, this year and even 2021 has been a little rough.
rough.
And watching a Nickelodeon themed NFL game was maybe like what I needed medically to watch it. So it wasn't just the kids tuning into Nickelodeon.
No, 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 no. Also, I just want to put out a real quick apology to any children that were watching that.
What?
As a Bears fan, I am very sorry that that is the team that you were subjected to watch on the field because it was trash. And I'm speaking as a Bears fan. I'm embarrassed. Anyway, just wanted to
You
get
know who
that
it should have been? It
disclaimer
should have been the Minnesota
out of there.
Vikings.
There you go. I was waiting for that. No, but to your point, Jill, it was number one, just so fun. The visual aspects of it, the slime, like you said, like it was so
MLS
engaging. But
opening week.
can I
What?
tell you who watched this?
You.
And well, I did. My mom. Because
Susan.
I told her, I said, Mom, this Bears game, it's also going to be on Nickelodeon. They're doing this like special broadcast, and they're trying to sort of engage a younger audience to understand the game. And she said she learned so much because my mom watches sports and she enjoys it, but it doesn't necessarily like sink in, just in terms of the rules and all of that kind of thing. She learned so much because up would pop young Sheldon and he'd be like, this is why they called offside. And like like it
Like that's a flag on the play.
exactly. And she actually was retaining the information and the rules about the game because of this broadcast. And I thought, well, how cool, because if my mom is getting so much out of this, then certainly the kids and the younger viewers are taking it in as well. I just thought it was really fun, well done, well executed. Did you see FC Dallas's tweet though?
No.
They were all about it. So they tweeted out this picture of two of their guys scoring, and then like the slime cannons. Like so I know FC Dallas is on board.
And now time for our AT&T 5G call to the field after an incredible 14-year career that included Germany, 8 seasons with the New York Red Bulls, 1 with Inter Miami, captaining both, leading the Red Bulls to 3 supporter shields, 2015 goalkeeper of the year, recently announcing he is hanging up the boots. We are so thrilled for our first guest of 2021, Luis Robles.
Woo! I didn't realize I was the first guest. This is quite
Oh, yeah.
Listen, we're starting out with a bang in
You are kicking off our somehow we've made 3 seasons, and you are kicking this off for us. So we are so thankful. We just have to throw this out there. Luis Robles also wins the award for quickest to answer an email and most on-time player yet. Luis, you're down in South Florida recently, making that announcement. How are you feeling?
I feel okay. I originally wasn't going to announce. It was actually advice that was given to me by Greg Berhalter and a couple ex-teammates, where they basically called me, and I was sitting on the bench at my son's practice, and Greg's like, "Hey, what's going on in your life?" And I said, "I'm retired." He's like, "What do you mean you're retired?" "I'm retired." And he's like, "Well, you have to let people know that. Like, people have to know that you're retired." I was like, I don't know. That just doesn't feel like me. And he's like, "No, you have to do it. It's not only just for you. It's people who were part of your career and they were part of the journey. They want to be able to sort of memorialize that." I thought, well, that's actually pretty cool. But I wasn't sold yet. And then Kenny Cooper called me later that night, and he asked me the same thing. He said, "Luis, what's going on? What are you doing next year?" And I said, "I don't know. I'm retired." And he said, "You're not retired unless the world knows you're retired." I'm like, "Okay, I'll work on it." So then the next day I worked on it, and I don't know, it just felt kind of a weird thing to do and a weird thing to say. But in hindsight, I'm really glad that those guys called me. I'm really glad that they gave me that advice, because it was also really nice for 72 hours just to be flooded with messages from people that were part of the journey for me personally, coaches, teammates, and then just people around the league. I was really surprised at how many people around the league called, whether they got my contact through someone else. They just reached out and they said some really kind things. So it was nice. I was feeling the love.
MLS is a family. That's something I've learned.
No, it is.
It really is.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It is a small ecosystem. It's one that you don't really think about too often. But when you take a moment and you realize that there's not that many people involved in our circles, and soccer definitely makes it smaller. And then, of course, at MLS, it makes it even smaller. There is a family vibe to it. So I like that our ecosystem has that. And I would now recommend that to anyone that's been able to be on a journey like that they should announce it, because it gives teammates, it gives friends, it gives fans an opportunity to just congratulate you and say thank you for the way that you were able to perform for their club, for their organization.
I mean, nobody did it better than you. Let's be honest. Jill rattled off your list of accomplishments. Just, an absolute legend, Luis. It's an honor. At what point did you know that now was the right time to walk away?
When I broke my arm. When I broke my arm, I was like, all right, this has sort of been in the back of my mind. I thought about it during the summer. I started having the conversation with my wife and started involving my kids in the conversation. They're like, "No, Daddy, we want you to play forever." But there was just something different about, I mean, for me, I'm a worker, right? I have to put in the hours. For me, part of the preparation is being there before training and being in the gym and getting ready physically on the training table with the athletic trainers. And then afterwards, when the team has gone off the field, still continuing to work with my goalkeeper coach, being in the video room, all that preparation, I love that. And that never went away. For me, though, it just started to wane a little bit. And I didn't want to start sacrificing hours. I didn't want to modify and change that, because I just feel like for me, that was part of my process. And the moment that I felt like I couldn't give it that sort of attention, at least for me, and I don't think this is for everyone, at least for me, I felt like, okay, this is time. This is time to really consider what it's like. And it's not like I was getting any younger. And of course, the broken arm sort of sealed the deal for me. And it wasn't necessarily, I got injured, but it was my first major injury in my career, which is crazy, right? After 14 years. Mm-hmm. And to look at it and just think, it's been incredible. I'm just thankful for every moment that I got, every game I got to play, every season that I got to participate in. But the other thing that I really enjoy doing is playing with my kids. And my son just started playing competitive soccer. I love going out there and playing with him. My daughters are just trying to pick up soccer. They're in dance. I like being on the dance bar with them, trying to do all the different moves. They'll never be able to do the splits as they're doing. Every time I see them do it, I just think that just looks like the most painful thing in the world. I want to be able to do that. And so I always thought, even early on, that I would much rather say goodbye to the game a year early than a year too late. Mm-hmm. And so when these thoughts started to percolate in my mind, I wanted to be serious with them. And I never really saw myself as the guy that would just hang on and hang on and hang on. And the other thing is, sooner or later, I'm going to have to transition. It's not like I have millions and millions of dollars where I can just sit back and do nothing. In my neighborhood, there's a hockey player and an NFL player. And when I was joking with them about retirement, like for them, it's a hard retirement. They made so much money in their career that they just play golf all day long. And that's just not something I'm able to do. So I'm very happy with the way that everything went, but I'm also excited for the next chapter.
Your commitment obviously paid dividends with that crazy streak that you had from 2012 to 2018. Did not miss a game. MLS's Iron Man. We love to see it. Where will the Robles family call home now, as you are now a dance dad and a soccer dad?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Had some preliminary conversations with different organizations with Miami. We're just trying to figure out the right fit. I know that I want to stay in professional soccer. And I know that looking at some of my colleagues and ex-teammates, it's going to require moving. For me personally, if I could write it all out, I just want to move as few times as possible. I had a childhood growing up in Sierra Vista, Arizona that required one move. I went to Germany. My dad was stationed in Germany for 5 years. I was born in Sierra Vista. We went to Germany for 5 years. I came back to Sierra Vista and didn't leave until I went to college. My wife also grew up in Sierra Vista. She showed up at 2 years old and didn't leave until she went to college. I thought that childhood was incredible. And every time that we get to go back to Sierra Vista for the winter holidays to see our grandparents or our parents, their grandparents, I just love showing them, hey, like this is where I grew up. This is the city park that I played at every single day. This is the desert where I rode my bike out with my friends every single day. I just love that was my childhood. I don't know if I could provide the same sort of childhood, but I'm definitely going to try to bring some sort of stability in their upbringing where they're not moving all the time.
Luis, a lot of people have said that your personality is very well suited for a front office position. Is that something has that ever occurred to you as a potential next step in your career, in your efforts to stay in the game of soccer?
Absolutely. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that isn't the case. I hope. I know that I have to cut my teeth somewhere. I have to get in somewhere, start at the very bottom and work my way up the ladder. But ultimately, I would love to have that responsibility and have that privilege to be able to lead an organization in that capacity. I don't know how long that's going to take. I'm more than willing to do whatever it takes to get there, because I feel like this is something where I can continue to give back to the game. I can continue to bring something of substance to Major League Soccer. And that's what I hope to do. Is when I look back at my career, one of the greatest highlights for me is to be able to work with the MLSPA. Getting into the league was very difficult. And through all of that, I understood that there's some real challenges because of the situation that I was in. And working with the PA has allowed me to make that better for players. I learned something when I was at the University of Portland. My coach there always said to the entire team, when you leave the place, leave it better than you found it. And that's something that really stuck with me. And that's something that I tried to apply to every situation that I've been in, whether it was at FC Kaiserslautern in Germany or Karlsruhe, New York Red Bulls, or even Inter Miami. And then, of course, as I was speaking about previously, MLSPA. And the work that I was able to do with that group of guys over the last 5 to 6 years has been truly remarkable. It's been fulfilling in ways that soccer could never fulfill me, because it's helping guys, it's helping players in their experience, in their life, and just trying to make it better, trying to make that transition, no matter what the transition is, better. Trying to make their bank accounts a little better. And so for me, that was really great. And I want to continue to do that. And if I can transition in the front office, at the core of me, I'm always going to be a player, and I'm always going to remember the experience I had with the MLSPA. And I hope that helps sort of dictate the way that I lead, the way that I'm able to navigate situations, and just try to push the needle in this league, whatever way possible. I hope that's the case.
Well, you have me sold. I'd say what you just said, like, let's put that on tape and ship it out to some teams.
Seriously. Well, if I was a young player, I'd be like, Luis Robles is the guy I want to go to.
Yeah.
We've been, I want you to kind of put your pretend GM hat on right now. Mm-hmm. So Luis Robles is, front office personnel. It's likely to be announced. It has not been announced yet, that it's going to be Phil Neville announced as the coach of Inter Miami. Mm-hmm. We're sort of waiting for this announcement to happen. Why do you think that is a good or a bad move for the club? Just your thoughts in general.
Wow, you really put me on the spot. I wasn't expecting that.
I didn't know
that. So I think when you look at everything that transpired this past year with Inter Miami, there were a lot of expectations. There was a lot of sort of lights and eyeballs looking at the organization because of who it's connected to, right? Anytime you have David Beckham connected to anything, there's going to be a lot of eyeballs. And the investment and the sort of resources that were allocated toward the team meant that the expectations were going to be really high. I know that we made the playoffs, but we're also very fortunate. We were very fortunate that they expanded the playoff field to 10 teams out of the 14 that were available. So that means that we squeaked into the playoffs, and we're able to at least say in our first year, the accomplishment is we made the playoffs. However, because of the person that we mentioned before, just the bare minimum isn't good enough. And when you really examine the resources and the sort of financial commitment that was put to the team, you could see how serious this ownership is when they consider getting it right. And so for them, I think when they took a step back, they realized maybe there's certain areas that we just really need to examine. And I could understand, just being a player myself, playing with certain guys, teammates, battling with them, being in the locker room, going through those ups and downs with them, you develop a rapport. And David has that rapport with Phil. I guess you're announcing stuff that I didn't know was completely confirmed. I know I live down here. That doesn't mean
where we get all of our information, honestly. Yeah, we don't have an inside info.
It's not like we have an inside scoop. We're with we're with everyone else.
If that were to happen, and he does go that route, I could understand why he's doing that, because of that rapport that I mentioned. When I think about some of the teammates that I've played with, the experiences is what allows me to really trust them. It's what really allows me to know that this person's going to have my back. And so even if I were to be this GM, there's guys that come to mind right away that if I were to put my name on the line, if I were to build a project and I wanted to really be successful, these are the guys that I want to be with, that I'd want to go to battle with. These are the guys that I know they have my back, and I'm going to do everything that I can for those guys. So I absolutely can see why David decided to go down this route with Phil, because they had many a season together. They had many titles won together. And not only that, I think they own a team together in England, right? Salford City. So there's definitely not only a friendship there, but that rapport goes beyond the friendship, and it's battle tested. So it makes sense, at least for me.
Luis, we got to ask you, because pretty much anyone who has stepped foot in Miami, we ask this question too. Did you meet David Beckham?
Did I? I mean, unfortunately for David, there's a lot of pictures that is him in Miami and me, right? Because the day that he handed me the captain's armband.
Yeah,
So yeah, I've met David quite a few times. And
oh my gosh, did he smell good? Because that's what every person, and mostly men, report back to us, that he had a very good scent.
Will Trapp, I think it was like,
It was Will Trapp.
Will couldn't get over how good David Beckham smelled. And
did Will sing for you guys?
He did.
Yeah, he did. Do you sing?
He did.
Voice of an angel.
Yeah, Will. You're not talking about me. You're talking about Will.
Will Trapp. Yes.
Yeah. What was your impression meeting the big man, David Beckham?
That's a good question.
Did he live up to your expectations?
Yeah, of course. I mean, he is. I mean,
you're blushing.
I said this to my wife. The moment that I met him, he's way cooler than you could ever imagine. Just his disposition, his demeanor, the way that he is engaging, just the aura that is David Beckham. It was a pretty cool experience, and I'm not trying to downplay it. I guess in a way, like, even when I was in New York and I met celebrities, it's just like,
right, okay. Yeah,
you know, like there is. Maybe that part of me needs to tweak a little bit and get a little bit more excited, but
no.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was like, all right, well, this is great to meet him, but let's get to work. You know, I love that he's here, and I love the energy that he brings, and you can just feel the energy in the room is different when David is around, and that's great because it in a way we can use that energy to get to work. And my interactions with him have always been very positive. We've had a dialogue throughout the season, and even now we have a dialogue as we try to figure out if there is a role for me at the club. So no, he's incredible. I mean, come on, let's face it, the guy's ridiculously good looking. And as far as the smell goes, I try not to get so close that I could smell him. But I mean, I could just say that every personal interaction I've had with David is actually, let me tell you a story. So quarantine just happens, right? We were supposed to play LA Galaxy at home. It was going to be amazing. Sold out. It sold out in like 18 minutes, right?
I was supposed to be with that family, right? I was supposed to be there.
His whole family was there. I had 12 people visiting from New Jersey. It was all going to be incredible. Thursday, we find out it doesn't work out. So they come in Friday night. On Saturday, I was like, hey, let's just let me take you to the stadium. Let me take you to the training facility. But we pull up to the facility, and there's these Escalades there. And so I know who that is. Like, okay, well, someone important is here, so that means David Beckham's here. So I text the sporting director, and I said, hey, I'm here with some friends. I want to give them a tour of the facility. Is it okay? He said, well, you know, David's there. Let me check in. And he said, it's fine. So we start walking, and I don't really want to bring my friends to see him because it's also half female, right? So I don't really want to deal with the embarrassment that could happen because of this.
I don't trust them.
And so I'm just sort of like looking around the corner and navigating. Boom, we turn around the corner. Who's there? David Beckham. So I could tell the energy within my group was like they were freaking out. And I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to be able to avoid this. So I go and I say, David, my friends are here. Is it okay if they meet you and take a picture? And he was just like super cool. It's like, oh, absolutely. Let me go over there. And he just right away introduces himself. Hi, I'm David Beckham. Okay. All right. They know, but that's pretty cool that you did that. And then he just took all the pictures. Like he passed with them. He was just so friendly. He brought me over to meet his family, his sons. His wife had just left, so we didn't get to meet Victoria. But that's him. I mean, that was truly incredible. And my friends just went crazy. We get back in the car, and they're just screaming. And I'm talking about the guys. I'm not even talking about the girls. And so it was such a cool experience. He really put me in the best light. And that's just a small snippet of who he is. And this is why he's been so successful. And this is why people love him.
It's my first interaction with David was at the announcement, the Miami announcement. And he came to, they were doing, the supporters group were having like a big party at a bar in downtown Miami. And David Beckham showed up to this party. And I thought, oh, maybe he'll stick around for like 5 minutes, you know, a couple photo ops. He was there for over an hour, taking selfies with people, doing shots with fans. I mean, like, just so, and he, you know, David Beckham, it's like, you don't get more famous than David Beckham. And he was just so
honestly, there's,
right. Like, he is
like, let's think about it. There's maybe like Messi,
right?
Like,
Exactly. I mean,
there's just not that many people around the world that are as famous as David Beckham.
Global recognition. And it was just, I could not believe how generous he was with his time. And it was so, I've been so impressed by him. And I love you. Do you know that, like, the gift that you gave your friends, they are going to talk about that day and that moment for the rest of their lives? Like, it's just so cool.
They probably went back to Jersey and just wore that story down.
Oh my gosh. Those pictures are like pride.
One interaction, and interaction's even a strong word, with David Beckham was working at Red Bull Arena, emceeing a U.S. women's national team game there. Phil Neville was down on the sidelines with England. David Beckham was like in a box, just chilling, watching. I'm sure they had a night out planned afterwards. And David Beckham walked by me in the hallway at Red Bull Arena, and I was like putting on makeup outside the bathroom, and I literally was just like, "Hi." And like that, and then that was the
end. That. That's how you said hi.
Oh, Jill,
so. I got really nervous.
We gotta fix this.
Jill, how did he smell?
How did he smell? How did he
smell?
Was
it everything you thought?
I don't remember.
But I'll be honest.
I don't have a David Beckham story yet. So when this is all over, I think that Emily knows me a trip to Miami.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. I do. I was like, wow, just the whole package was well done. He's very
he's pretty spectacular, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, you mentioned your wife, and I am obsessed with your love story with your wife. I mean,
the story.
We're stalkers. We do our research, Luis.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you paid such a beautiful tribute to her when you announced your retirement, and just, all of the support that she's given you through the years, your career, the ups and downs. And then, we do a little deep dive and investigation. And you had said in one of your posts that you knew on your very first date that Kara was the one that you were going to marry. What was it about her? What has made this work for you? I just kind of we love giving some love to the other halves of our MLS players, and give them some love for all the support. So just tell us what is so special about your wife.
Well, I mean, she's just the kindest person I've ever met. She's truly remarkable in the sense that she's so gracious, and not just towards me, towards strangers, towards just people who might have even wronged me. I mean, she's like too kind to wrong, but she's just so incredibly gracious. And one of my favorite, I did know that, by the way, like the moment that we went on that first date, we had just finished putt-putt. I was with my best friend, and he was dating one of her friends. So we were on a group date.
How old were you?
15. I was 16. She was 15. So in order for her, I looked her number up in the phone book. Because that's what you did.
That? Yeah, golly.
In the white pages, right? Yeah. So I met her that day. That was the very first time that we'd spoken. She was a freshman. I was a junior. We've known about each other forever because we're in a small town. But with her being younger, it wasn't as if we were crossing paths all the time. And so I wanted to meet her. I'd heard about her. So we met that day. And that afternoon, I went and watched her play softball. In a very like stalkerish kind of way, because she didn't say, "Hey, I have a softball game you should come check out." And so then, like, oddly enough, when we were going home, our cars were sort of going in the same direction the whole time. I was like, "Oh, this is so dumb!" Like, she's going to think I'm a total stalker. So how can I ratchet that up a little bit? Well, I'm going to look her up in the white pages and call her up. So that's exactly what I did. I called her I looked her number up on the white pages, which I don't even know exists anymore, right? Like, my kids don't use the white pages. No. And there were 4 Youngbloods, because that's her maiden name is Youngblood. And she was the third one. So I struck out on the first 2, third time was a charm. I asked her out. I said, it was so awkward. It's like, I know you just met me today, but I'd love to take you out sometime. And she said, yeah, I'm not allowed to date. So I got to ask my parents. Yeah, wasn't allowed to date. So 20 minutes goes by. It felt like an eternity. She calls me back and says, we can go on a date. It has to be in a group. So fortunately, my best friend was dating one of her friends, and we went on this putt-putt date. And afterwards, we're just sitting there talking. I remember at this little picnic table, and I just thought, wow, this is the girl I want to spend the rest of my life with. The problem is I'm 16. I'm not ready to like commit to her. So that's part of all the frustrations of our story, mostly on her side. But one of my favorite stories actually was when everything was going bad for us. We were in Germany. It was 2012. I'd sort of been removed from the first team, and part of it was performance. I mean, I wasn't playing so well, but I mean, that was also because of other reasons. But we actually were going through a really difficult time. Her dad had stage 4 cancer. Like, we thought that he was going to pass. It was very aggressive. It went from he was fine, and then 3 weeks later, he was being operated on. They had to like cut out his tongue and reform a tongue. It was crazy. And so we thought we were going to lose him. We just miscarried, and it was sort of a late stage miscarriage. And then my dad was really sick. So it was like a lot of bad stuff going on. And then, by the way, my career was just like in shambles. It was just the low of the low. And I was sitting on the couch. This was in Germany. I was sitting on the couch, and she said, let's go outside and train. And I was like, okay, where? She's like, well, we could just go on the driveway. I'm like, okay, so we're going to go on the driveway and train. And she's, yeah, like, you're in a funk. We got to get you doing something. So we set up some cones, and she doesn't really know how to kick a ball, but she like threw the ball to me, and we did some drills for like an hour. And I felt so much better. And we didn't know how our story was going to play out. We didn't know that we're going to come to MLS and have this incredible, incredible story with Major League Soccer. In a way, like, we thought it was done. And yet this is a small little snapshot of who she is, encouraging me to be out there. We're on this driveway, and she's throwing the ball to me, and she's not saying anything, but she just made me feel better. And like, that's one small part of who she is. Now, I've been able to see that grace play out in a number of different ways, just through our parenting, through our relationship, through other people. And I mean, she's incredible. She really is. And I know that I'm the one that gets the glory, is in the spotlight. The people that know us is because of what I do. And unfortunately, a lot of times she gets referred to as, oh, you're Luis's wife. And I constantly have to sort of interject. I was like, no, she's Kara, right? Because she's the type of person that you want to get to know, not she's married to the other guy that you want to get to know. No, she's truly remarkable. She's amazing in every way. I mean, I could go on and on. I mean, honestly, she's the best. But it's also challenging being married to me. So I think that in and of itself continues to show just how incredible she is.
Luis, this was a blast. We could let you gush about Kara all day. This is the stuff. This is what the call up is made for.
Yeah,
just hanging out.
Well, I'm glad I finally got called up. It only needed me to leave the game to get called up. So
that's pretty rude of us and pretty unacceptable.
So rude.
So unacceptable. Before we let you go, Luis, and it's totally fine if you don't. But one thing, when we do have goalkeepers on, we always say they seem to have like these hidden talents. You know, Jeff Attinella, writing children's books. Stephen Fry, we know he like loves art. Is there anything we need to know about Luis Robles that we do not know? Do you have any hidden talents?
No, I don't have any. I'm sorry to disappoint. I don't have any.
No, you don't. I actually hate that question when people ask me.
Yeah, I wish I could say that there was something really cool about me. But no, that's it. I used to save a ball for 14 years, and now I don't. And now I just trying to figure out what's next.
Well, whatever is next, you're gonna crush it, just like you did everything else in your career.
You're a great storyteller. Like the Germany stories, kid stories, the David stories. I'm just like, your kids must get great bedtime stories.
More. This was amazing.
What's really fun right now is my son's 8, and he just wants to talk. My daughter's like, she's 6, and she's crazy creative, incredibly creative. and she talks about stuff that's not real. But like, so I just sit there and I listen. But my son, like, he's just at a stage right now where we're going to bed and he just wants to talk. And I'm just like, wow, this is incredible. I love this. Like,
That's awesome, because that is not always the case with it,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
with their
So I don't even
emotions.
tell stories. We just talk.
I love that. That's
Guys, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
we're gonna miss you so much watching you, but I know that we're gonna be hearing a lot about what your next step is, and like I said, whatever you're gonna do, you're gonna kill it, because that's
I have a feeling we're gonna be annoying you at some point, being like,
No.
please,
You guys
can you tell us, like, the summer transfer window's coming up?
Yeah.
When are you guys gonna get a true number 10? And you're like, oh my God.
like,
guys,
Stop asking that.
hey,
what I've realized right now is that there isn't this like linear path to it. I mean,
No,
who knows? It may be like 14 years before I even like, get to be part of it.
or it could be next week.
I might have to start at just like the guy who gives water to the groundskeeper, like to turn the spigot on. I'll start wherever. I'll start wherever I can get a job. I just want to stay within the sport and take my time learning and understanding what that process is all about, because I don't think you get a ton of opportunities. And when that opportunity does come along, I want to make sure that I'm fully prepared for it. And that means between now and then, it's a lot of learning, a lot of just sort of humbling myself and trying to understand from people and their experiences and whatever advice I can get. So if you guys have any advice, I'll take it. But until I get there, I think it's going to be a long, hard journey, but it's one that I think is worth taking.
What a phenomenal dude. I could have sat there and listened to his stories all day. Just a huge
Yeah, we need a
thank you
part
to
2
him
later on this season when
coming
he's
on. We'll check in.
when he's running some team and
Exactly.
and we do become very annoying to him. Yeah, for sure. Thank you,
I
Louise.
feel
Loved
we're
it.
all friends now, so he'll give us the inside scoop. Okay, Jill, what's on tap? Because guess what? We actually have things that are on tap. This is very yes. Very exciting. Starting with the MLS Super Draft 2021 presented by Adidas. That is going to be held at 2 p.m. Eastern on January 21st. This is when dreams come true. Jillian Sakovits. I will never forget last year. This actually, like, I cannot believe this was a year ago, but I flew to St. Louis to surprise Jack Mayer, who was Nashville's #1 pick, on his front lawn with a busload of Nashville supporters. And we gave him the surprise of his life. Mike Jacobs got off the bus and we announced to him that he was going to be Nashville's first pick. And that was one of the coolest moments I've ever had in my career.
That you were on a packed bus with other human beings.
I know. Remember what that was like? It's crazy. But it's just that, you know what, Super Draft is I've been a part of a few of them now, and it's just
special.
It's such a feel-good day, like watching these
I was
young
in Houston
kids.
with Tab Ramos. I'm not going to complain.
Also coming up, you guys, this weekend we have the EMLS League Series 1 presented by Coca-Cola. EMLS is back January 16th and 17th, starting at 3 p.m. through 7 p.m. This is on MLS's Twitch and Twitter page. I'm going to be part of the broadcast crew checking it out. But this EMLS is a big deal, man.
Let me tell you.
Every year, the prize pool has grown this year. The players are really, really good, like globally ranked. This is a thing, y'all.
It's no freaking joke. I just wrapped up the North American qualifiers with E-League, and there was half of them were EMLS players of the guys competing. And all I have to say, Susanna Collins, is keep your eyes out on this extra from the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Mm-hmm.
Holy smokes. Clinic, FIFA 21. I mean, people were talking about a Tex extra battle. That's how good this extra kit has become. And I
love this. See, I feel like this is like my scouting report.
Oh, yeah. I got all your inside info. So
this is great.
All of it.
It's actually very helpful. But yeah, guys, tune into that. It's going to be super, super fun. So yeah, we've got some big, exciting things coming up this week. But we want to hear from you guys, especially, as this is our first episode of season 3. Tell us, people that you would love to hear from. Who would you like us to interview? What do you want us to talk about? Like we are here for the people. We want to deliver the goods.
And in our inaugural episode, our first ever episode with Dax McCarty, we got some epic questions like, should I bring a girl a jersey on a first date? We got really fun questions, and we promise we will address them. So between now and our next episode and 2 weeks from now, send us some good questions, people, because we really want to dive into your personal lives.
I love it. And don't forget to give us a follow on the social medias.
Lake.
It's at MLS Call Up on Twitter. Yeah, we actually do respond to tweets and all of that. So give us a follow and like and subscribe and all of that. Jill, we did it. First episode of 2021, our season 3 in the books. This felt good, my girl.
Good for the soul. And thank you to Luis Robles. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks.